My name's Josianne Romasco, and I'm aquarist keeper here at the Pittsburgh Zoo and PPG Aquarium, and I'm also the Sea Turtle Second Chance Program Coordinator. We started it in 2009, you could say it was hatched, and we started off with some little loggerhead hatchlings that needed a second chance. So they were rescued from the shores down in North Carolina, mostly the Outer Banks, and these guys were stragglers that couldn't make their way out to sea, or maybe they were washbacks from hurricanes, and that's sort of how everything began. That's how our identity began, and since then we've really moved forward with being involved in many different ways, and now it's pretty much a year-round job. So sea turtles really prefer to be in nice, warm, tropical weather, and so what they do to combat that during the winter months and even late fall, they'll end up hitching up with a Gulf Stream. Sea turtles, reptiles are cold-blooded, so they cannot maintain their own body temperature like you and I can. When this water temperature offshore dips below, say, 50 degrees, they don't handle that very well. They go into shock. So they stop swimming, they're not swimming, they're not foraging, so they're not eating. They become very emaciated and lethargic. They become easy prey, and they just might be drifting at sea for weeks to months on end before they might be lucky enough to wash ashore if they're still alive, where somebody's ready to look out for them. You could have constraints on geographical barriers or proximity to the ocean or the beach, but you never know what the resources are that are needed. Maybe one season they don't need us to take patients. They need physical manpower, and we're a very talented, skilled staff of veterinarians and interns to animal husbandry to curatorial staff, and even for documentation purposes. So a lot of times we can be a supportive care, but in most cases, we're actually one of the first ones that get a call. So we know what our bed space is. That's not the luxury of any other coastal facility. So when they need to move turtles that maybe came in that were critical but are stable, and they can kind of get them in, processed, and move them on to a secondary facility like ourselves, we are usually one of the first calls. Most of the facilities that are going to be taking in these cold stun turtles in particular are 10 or 11 hours north of us. And most of the time of year, whenever we want to do our first releases, you're looking at March or April. We have to go all the way down to Florida to do that because coastal waters in Virginia and North Carolina aren't even close to being warm enough, maybe by June or July. So that's how Pittsburgh is evolving. That's how we're becoming part of the discussion. That's how we are counted in the game plan now.